about a lot, just with different relationships in my life that have made me question kind of generosity. So this isn't so much me saying, you need to give more or you're not doing enough. It's more kind of me, I guess, self-analysing and kind of the conclusion I came to personally. Because of course, I'm only 28, I've yet to live a full life, I hope, and I'm not a parent, and I think there are many layers that I've yet to understand. So I think in terms of generosity in my life, I still have a lot to learn, and I don't, until I'm a parent, I probably won't ever understand that. So this is kind of, might be a bit naive, I don't know, only because I'm still young. Well, I just turned 28 and I feel old, but I'm told I'm still young. So yeah, that's kind of the inspiration for me. I'm sure everyone has people in their life who they feel they invest into, whether that be someone who may be physically ill, emotionally not in a good place, or people you fully invest in terms of friendship and you don't feel you receive anything back, and it can be quite painful. And so yeah, again, I guess those are things that have touched my life sort of in recent years and made me think about it more so in kind of levels of generosity and what is enough and what isn't enough, and it has made me think a lot. So I wanted to start by getting you to ask the person next to you, why do you think it is important to express gratitude? So just with the people sort of in your close vicinity, you can kind of talk with them about that for a few moments. It's interesting because yesterday was my brother's birthday, and so obviously Anna and Daniel live locally, so I stayed last night, and it was so interesting because I've been preparing this sermon, and then yesterday obviously it was his birthday, so obviously you bring a gift, and he'd been wanting a new PlayStation, so he asked, before I went to Japan over the summer, and yeah, before I left I said, what do you want? I was thinking, do I buy him something from Japan, or what does he want? And he's quite practical. He said, some money towards my new PlayStation. So I said, okay, maybe I'll just put 50 quid in an envelope and I'll give that to you. And he said, yeah, that's fine. Then of course me and Danny went to Japan, and there's lots of cool things there, and so I bought him quite a lot of stuff. So yeah, yesterday when I was travelling to the party, I was thinking, £50 is a lot. And we'd just come back and we bought him a lot of stuff, so I was like, he won't mind, but I did say that I would give him £50. So what I did was I took out 40, and I was thinking 30, I said no, 40 is good. But then I felt, maybe I felt guilty, and so I stopped off at an Asian shop and I bought him a big bottle of soy sauce and some noodles, because I thought, he lives in Bromley, maybe it's quite hard to get this stuff, and I really like soy sauce, you know, I live for it. So I thought he'd appreciate that too. So I had all my bags and I was lugging this bottle of soy sauce, and I kind of, was like kind of excited to give him soy sauce, I don't know why. And then he just looked at the bag and just like didn't even look at it, and I was so hurt. And it's so ridiculous, right? But I'm a gift giver, so if I feel like someone doesn't appreciate it, it's like a knife. And I was like, I loved that the whole way here, but I was thinking actually maybe I should just give him £50 in the end, like reflecting on it, because in the end I ended up spending like £7 on that anyway, so I saved like £3, right? So I don't know, anyway, it really got me thinking, and that happened just last night, and I was still annoyed, and like, anyway, it was just really interesting. So it made me think about not just about giving, but about how important it is to say thank you, actually. To give thanks, it's like you're returning something to give something, right? So it's also an act of like service. So anyway, I was thinking about, I don't have children yet, but how as a child, I remember distinctly kind of the first life lessons I was taught, you know, things like look both ways when you cross the road, don't talk to strangers, kick them if they try and grab you and run away, and but also saying thank you and sharing. So, you know, are you going to share your sweets? Oh, I don't want to. But then you quickly learn that you are happy to do that, and it gives you joy, right, to kind of sacrifice the sweet and to share the love almost, and how to say thank you. You can say thank you, like say thank you, you know, those kinds of things. And why is it that we so want to instill those things in our children? So yeah, it just really made me think a lot about giving and receiving. And yes, so even as a small child, you quickly learn that you feel good when you do those things, and I guess as you grow older, like, it develops and grows. So the next question is, how do you personally express feelings of gratitude? So you can again just have a little discussion amongst yourselves. Somebody mentioned a long time ago, and like taking a mental note, and then finding the perfect gift. And then I almost enjoy that more than shopping for myself. It's an excuse to spend money, but I feel less guilty because I'm spending it on somebody else, and then wrapping it and then giving it to them. But yeah, again, like I feel like often I'm not speaking the right language. So you all know about like 5 love languages. I'm sure you've all heard this before, but it's something that's kind of I learnt about through the marriage course. So how everyone receives love in different ways. So like words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch. So there are all these different languages. And actually understanding that for me really helped me understand Danny a lot more. Like when I tidy the room, he is so happy. You know, I can like bring him back a present and he'll somehow be happy. If it's a MacBook or a gadget, he's really happy, but anything else, it's quite hard to please him in terms of gifts. But if I tidy the room, he's like really happy, right? Really happy. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. But yeah, and Anna's like quality time kind of person. So, because I know that, it really helps me to think, how can I make Anna happy? Okay, I'll do this. But often I feel like we're like missing each other. And I feel like maybe that's what I've been doing, is that with my friendships and my relationships, like I've not been speaking the same language, and maybe I'm missing something, or on a different frequency somehow. So, I don't know, I guess maybe if you're feeling that way, maybe think about those things, because it definitely helped me to really analyse it properly and think, well, just because they didn't say this or do that doesn't mean that they didn't care. Yeah, so it also started to make me think about motive when you're giving. Like, it was interesting thinking about all these different layers. Like, there are so many layers to giving and being generous, and how I find it really hard personally to give and forget. Do you know what I mean? To give and forget. You know, often, you know, when I was a teenager, I'd do the dishes, but I'd make sure my top was like quite wet, and I'd come and, oh, that was hard work, you know, like, those kinds of things. Or when my dad cleans up, because he doesn't do it that often. Sorry. Dad, he's not here. But he'll kind of make a bit of a show of it, or like, oh God, oh, that, oh, you know, oh, thanks Dad, you know, or something like that. Or to, I guess I analyse myself quite a lot, but you know, when you're kind of doing something in a certain way and you know people are watching you, and so you behave in a certain way or act in a way that you maybe wouldn't, or make more of a show of it somehow. So, yeah, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So yeah, again, it started to make me really think about all these different layers about giving and how should you give if your heart isn't in the right place? Like, should you still do that? I don't know, what do you think? Like, it really started to make me think, like, okay, should you not give at all? Like, if you're not feeling like you want to give, then should you give? Because then you're not doing it with the right heart. And I started to get really, not confused, but somehow like, do you know what I mean? Like, having discussions like, but what do you think? Like, should you still give? And then, I guess for my own decision, it was like, yeah, I should. And then hopefully through that, I would then learn something. It's like when you do something that you don't want to do, but then having done it, you're like, yeah, I should have done that. You know, you kind of know you should do it, but you choose not to, right? And then you're comfortable for a moment. It's like not going to service, oh, I won't go. And you stay at home, like, oh, comfort. And then it sinks in, you're like, oh, dang it, I should have gone. Or you go to the service, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. You think, oh, I'm okay now. Do you know what I mean? So again, it really made me think a lot about these kinds of things. So again, about kind of doing things when people are looking at you. Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them, for then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven. Thus, when you give to the needy, sound no trumpet before you. And I really liked the idea of the trumpet, because I definitely do that sometimes, you know, kind of, during the whole image of it, like, da, 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 like, I've done it, do you know what I mean? Like, it kind of made me laugh, actually, thinking about that. So, I remember I was lucky to go to a Church of England school in Sind, and so growing up I heard a lot of Bible stories, and we went to church every Sunday locally. And one story I really remember was the widow's offering. So Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." Sorry, I forgot to press that. But yeah, it really made me think about my mom. Like, if you've met her, like, she's like a superwoman. Like, she takes care of my dad, who is a bit of a baby sometimes, and also Sajan, who's autistic, and me, who I'm also a baby a lot of the time. So is my brother, all babies, and she's the only mature one in the family, to be honest. But she somehow like manages to corral us all and to like hold it together. I think because she has a really great spiritual life and a great prayer life. But yeah, she's someone who'd literally give you like the clothes off her back. Like, she works in a charity shop now, so she's starting to buy a lot of the stuff that she's supposed to be trying to get other people to buy, right? But she'll buy like a new top, and I'm like, that's really nice. Do you want it? I'll give it to you. And it's like, oh no, it's okay, it's fine. You know, she'll kind of, I don't know, I'll go home with like bags of food and all these different things. And I'm sure as a mum, you probably understand that, or as a daughter or a son, you understand that too, you know, from your mum. So again, like, and also this story also makes me think about kind of giving, and how sometimes a celebrity on Instagram will post like a picture of themselves in an African orphanage, or you know, this kind of like demonstrous behaviour because they have the money and the means to give. But actually, how to give when you have nothing is really amazing. And growing up, I was quite spoilt. I had a lot of things, you know, just a lot of things. I like things around me, and so if a friend would come over and they'd say, "Oh, I like this," I'd say, "Oh, you can have it." And I thought, oh, I'm so generous, I'm such a giving person. But actually, when I was blessed into the Lider family, like they didn't have a lot growing up, and so I used to question, why is it Danny's not so generous? Why is it he's stingy? Sorry, Danny. He's not like that anymore, but back then. And I used to judge him quite quickly. Why is it he doesn't give? But actually they were like sleeping in one room for years, and he had nothing. And so it was really harsh of me to judge him so quickly. But again, like, he was generous in his love for people because he didn't have a lot of money. And so he's very generous with his energy, when I'm not so much like that. And so, again, it just really made me think about this a lot more. So, is it possible to be too generous? That's another thing I've really been thinking about. Can you give too much? I don't know, what do you think? I've really been thinking about this, and it's like such like, it's like, can you? Like, can you or can you not? I don't know. I guess, I was thinking, if maybe you're a bit of a lunatic and you, well, I guess everyone was in the beginning because they gave away their houses, right, to the church and things. So can you give too much? I'm sure maybe for a lot of first gen that makes more sense because you did give everything, right? And that's something that we will never understand. So again, I don't know, can you give too much? I still don't know, actually. But I have been feeling a bit like this sometimes. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way sometimes, that you give too much, or you feel like you're running dry, especially if it's things like energy or emotion, something that involves emotion, when you feel like you're like, I give up, like this dog. I empathise with this dog a lot. Like, and I've been feeling that way as well with some of my friendships, like I don't want to do it anymore, like I really can't be bothered, actually. Yeah. I don't know. But again, it made me think about my parents again, because after I left STF, I abruptly left STF without telling anybody, and I hadn't been dealing with a lot of emotional baggage from my teenagehood. I went through like a few years of depression, like quite severe depression, and I wouldn't leave the house. And again, when I reflect on it, I feel like an idiot, but when you're in it, it feels very real. But again, my parents never gave up on me, never. No matter how many doors I slammed or how many curse words I threw at them, they literally never gave up. And even though I know it was painful, like I remember walking past my mum's room and she was literally in the dark, staring out the window, like crying. And I was so numb to it that I didn't feel anything. But actually, like, she literally never gave up. And had she given up, then, like, I wouldn't be here. I don't know what I would be doing, right? So again, I'm sure I put them through hell, and that they wanted to give up at times. I think a couple times they're like, oh, I give up on you, you know, they'd say things like that occasionally, rarely, but out of anger or frustration that I wasn't improving or I wasn't getting better. So again, yeah, I've got friends who have hurt me quite a lot, and I've also hurt people too. And so I've kind of decided that I won't give up, and I'm going to try and persevere with these relationships and friendships, because I think it's rare to find like lifelong friendships, and I kind of want to pioneer that and kind of successfully manage to do that somehow, and to kind of forge really long-lasting relationships. But again, like, my parents' heart really impressed me, and I guess made me more so believe in the idea of never giving up on somebody, or being generous in heart. So yeah, after I kind of came out of this situation, I went to America to do some kind of animation course, and during that time I met this one woman who is kind of like a counsellor, like a member, and kind of spiritually open. And I was kind of talking to her, I was kind of still at a rough point, and she just said one word to me, and that was gratitude, and it never really stuck with me. I mean, it stuck with me, but it kind of was in the back of my mind for a long time. And just thinking about this topic, I really realised that when I'm feeling grateful is then when I feel replenished, and then when I'm able to give. But when I'm feeling empty, that's when I have nothing, and I can't do anything. And it just really stuck with me, and so it's something I try to remember. I definitely don't always remember it for sure, Danny can vouch for that. But yeah, I really started, I don't know, it's something I've really been thinking about, and actually how when I assess my life and I think about the things that I'm good at, the things that that I feel grateful for, then I then feel refilled, you know. And also, I came across this quote by Mother Teresa, who's someone she's always in my sermons because I really respect her a lot. I know God will not give me anything I can't handle. I just wish that He didn't trust me so much. And yeah, within my capacity, I'm doing hard work, it can be quite draining because I'm someone who I care too much, I think, sometimes, which then means I take a lot of baggage home. And sometimes I can feel why? Why, you know? But actually, it's when I feel grateful that God is trusting me, or then I somehow feel like I want to do better, or this is why I'm doing it, and thank you for trusting me, and I'll do my best. So again, that feeling of gratitude, you know, and I was thinking about generosity and gratitude and how, it goes full circle. So someone is generous and then you express gratitude and that then replenishes that person to want to do it again. So actually, if we can try and be either or and then interchange and continue this kind of give and take, then that's how we can all be replenished, actually. So it's not just about being generous, but also being generous in your thanks to other people as well, and being able to read between the lines and kind of assess other people and see kind of what they're trying to do and what they're attempting to do. And again, there's this quote by Rumi. I won't try and pronounce the rest of his name, but he's I've had a note down. He was, does someone know?
Sufi.
Yeah. I had a Wikipedia link. I'm not that smart, so I have to often find these things. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly who he is, but yeah, I had that written down, but it's not here, so I would have known. But wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. And again, just the idea of wearing it like a cloak and having it kind of completely encompass your life, and to really kind of, I don't know, it just really made me think about this a lot. And I had tons and tons and tons of quotes, and I really had to narrow it down because I was kind of getting super inspired. But also when I typed in gratitude to try and find images, these are the images that came up. A lot of people on beaches kind of doing this, with a sunset behind them, or a child praying, or some kind of, they all looked really kind of religious. Or somehow connecting to some bigger being, or something bigger than yourself. So it wasn't like someone shaking somebody's hand, or hugging somebody, like a person, always kind of, I don't know, insinuating some kind of God, right? And so it really made me think, and actually how, when people say give thanks or express gratitude, often it's to God, actually. Not often, but just that kind of whole idea of gratitude is actually to something bigger than what we can see in our life here. So yeah, it made me think about I was thinking, how can I refuel? How can I feel like I have enough spiritual energy to give continually? And actually, yeah, the conclusion I came to was that I needed to be more grateful for my life, because actually, in the grand scheme of things, I don't have it that rough. I don't want to jinx it, because when I say these things, there's something really bad happens. But yeah, my mum's always saying, "Chill positive." She's always trying to be my cheerleader, behind me, you know, be happy, be positive, and be grateful. So yeah, and to really realise that you know, that I am precious and that I'm worthy as well. I think we often don't feel worthy, and that life can be joyful, and we can make it joyful as well. In giving out the love of God to other people, you are sharing your love with them, and your love, rather than being diminished, will be multiplied. Only by giving can we receive. So we want to give out our whole being. We want to give out our family, our clan, our nation, and our whole world to God. In return, He will fill our hearts with such love that He can embrace the whole world and the whole cosmos. We are rich. Then, are you going to be really generous givers? In giving to others, never expect to receive anything directly in return from them, but let them return what they have received to God. You are returning everything to God through those people. so God will be sure to return something to you. That something is his love, which is greater than anything else in the world. You will receive things of more value than those you have given out. Through the love of God, you will be in the position of God's son or daughter. The more you labour for the love of God, the more you can receive from him in abundance. So I just want to play a video. The good thing about giving harp talks is they've got lots of resources, because it can be a struggle to keep their attention. So. You might have seen this on YouTube. There are lots of these things. To work, and how I'm quite hateful sometimes when I'm on the London Underground, and I just get really moody, and when someone pushes in front of me, or when someone doesn't give a pregnant woman her seat, I just kind of seethe. I'm like, why are you giving her a seat? Or like some old person or something. But actually when someone's nice to me, kind of when I'm travelling or whatever, it really touches me and it really makes my day. But when someone is like mean, like me and Anna were walking today and someone was like, rah, like shouted at us from the van, and I was like so annoyed, like, but yeah, how just a kind act can really change your day. So I don't know, yeah, just the idea of like how the sky was kind of replenished through doing things for other people. We receive our lives in love, live by sharing love and return into the midst of love. It is important that we live our lives in a way that we can leave a legacy of love behind us. So again, I don't know, I guess like, you know, we're born because our parents love each other and are nurtured because our parents love us and other people, and we then, you know, exchange love as we grow up in our relationships, and then we return into the midst of love. So again, I remember Ebony giving this talk about CV culture and how, especially I guess my generation, like we're really good at selling ourselves and making us appear a certain way. Also, a lot of celebrities are really good at that because they've got their own means to do that now with Instagram and all these social media outlets. Because this is who I am, and kind of to defend themselves against the tabloids and things. And so you write a really good CV, maybe embellish things, like a lot of like the Harpies contact me saying, can you be my like reference? And can you say that I helped on like, I cooked at an event, and like, you mean you cooked on a workshop? Or like, do you know what I mean? I don't mind doing it, but definitely people really want to sell themselves. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but how we tend to focus on those things. And how actually, yeah, like, when someone passes away, like with their eulogy, no one ever mentions these things. Like, yeah, they were really good at this and good at that, but you talk about how they loved or the kind of character they had. And so again, it's really made me think about kind of how I want to kind of pass on without having any animosity towards anybody, and to know that I cared. And again, still working on it. But yeah, so I guess what I want to end with is that it's important to notice the efforts of others and to assess whether someone's speaking a different language and what they're trying to say or what they're trying to do. And I guess, yeah, that's why I've got this kids drawing, because often a child will draw something with all their effort and it will look really bad. Or maybe overly honest, like dad will have a really big belly and you're like, thanks, or something, you know, or like mom will have a really grey hair, I don't know. But it's honest and it's genuine and it's given innocently, you know. So again, I guess to try and give innocently, to try and give honestly and genuinely. And what I realised, I guess, is my conclusion, my personal conclusion, is that when I know in my heart that I can give more, but my reasons for not wanting to give more are based on my own feelings of negativity, judgment, or animosity, anger, those kinds of things, then that's when I know I should give more. When there's like, you know, a really okay reason, then it's okay, but for me, I feel like when I know that I'm feeling those feelings and that's why I don't want to do it, then that's when I should do it. And so yeah, that's my conclusion, I guess. Again, there's no answer, and I'm not here to say, do this and do that, but it's just kind of something I've been thinking about a lot, and hopefully, or I don't know, I guess sow a seed of thought for this week. So yes, thank you. Do I close in? Okay. Please join me in prayer. Dearest Parent, thank you so much that you could be here in Bromley community today, and yes, I hope that my son can somehow inspire some thought for the week, and if we're feeling snubbed or if we're feeling rejected by somebody or some situation, that we can really try our best to try and see the best in other people and to see them from your point of view, and that we can also assess our own actions as well, and whether we need to maybe be more verbal in our thanks, or maybe we get better at expressing gratitude as well. I really pray that you can be with everybody here, and that everybody can feel